Now, Eric, because of those expectations, and because this is going to be year 3 of Amon-Ra St. Brown, that means the Lions only have him for one more season under contract. And he will be a free agent in 2025. Okay. So the question is, number one, should the Lions consider signing St. Brown to an extension?
Yes, AJ. They should consider signing him to an extension. How much you pay him is the question, though. Should he be a priority in terms of re-signing and keeping with this team long term? Yes. You make sure he does not leave. He's too valuable. And you don't want to see, again, I feel like with all the finesse they've done in the division, I can see the Vikings or the Packers trying to like make him a target to make sure he's one, or Justin Fields and the Bears. They'll probably have more capital to help with that. So he's not a player I would let go. Again, I only have Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, and A.J. Brown. Those are the only receivers in the NFL that I think are better than him. And while you believe wide receivers are expendable, elite wide receivers are not expendable. And I would not be in a position where I would want to let him go just because it might be too expensive. I'm not letting him go.
I mean, Tyreek Hill was expendable for the Chiefs.
He's out of his mind, too. He's talking about he want to retire at the end of his deal now, too. So
I saw that.
I don't know what's up with Tyreek.
I did see that yesterday. But hey, I mean, good on him, man. Like, get what you want. He feels fulfilled by football, and he's going to move on. But I do think that wide receivers are expendable. However, I agree with everything you just said. And I'll tell you why I agree with everything you just said. Because you said the magic words. If the price is right. Okay. I agree that he could be and should be a priority to keep around the organization. If the price is right. So the question becomes, what kind of contract do you think Amon-Ra will sign after his rookie deal?
Oh, man. I'm worried about that.
If he puts up a couple more 1,000-yard seasons and is top 5 in receptions and those touchdowns go up,
he's going to want some big money.
He's going to want some big money. Now, I will say this to his credit. He seems like, you know the term, I'm built different, right? He seems built different in a lot of ways. To where I don't, and listen, people want to get their bag. I totally get that. And players have every right to get their bag. I have no problem with that. Doesn't mean teams need to pay it, but I have no problem with players going and getting their bag. I could see him taking less money to stay in Detroit for a couple of reasons. One, I think he really enjoys Dan Campbell and playing for Dan Campbell. 2, Detroit drafted him when 16 wide receivers were taken before him. And I could see him being the type of person that's like,
yes,
ride or die.
Yep.
Right? Which bodes well, but he's still going to want to get paid. So I went and I averaged, and this is in 2023, heading into the 2023 season. The top 10 wide receivers, their money, and I want to make sure that I get this right, and I'm going to read it exactly how I saw it. But the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL this year will make about, on average, 23.2 per year.
Okay.
What does that number say to you?
Means the Lions got to collect a lot of cans. It means they got to parlay a lot of money to make sure he don't stay. And 23 sounds like a lot, especially if he does have the production that we think he's going to have. But you're not wrong, though. He does seem like the ultimate culture guy. Like, we see him in the offseason. Like, he was just out in SoCal with J-Mo and Goff and all the wide receivers, working on routes and building their, cohesiveness together. And I like that. And he doesn't strike me as like to me, I believe he likes having that chip on his shoulder and playing for a team like Detroit. I think is the perfect opportunity for him to do that. I know a lot of people don't like hometown. It's not a hometown discount, but I don't know a lot of teams that love the discounts. But I think they'll be able to come to a reasonable number to keep him here. I do.
That's too much money
Okay.
to pay a wide receiver. I love Amon-Ra. I wouldn't pay him $23 million a year on average.
What if he's a top 5 receiver at this point?
Well, this is in 2023, so by 2025,
Right.
that number is going to be higher. So we're looking probably around 26, 27 maybe average. That to me is dangerous. It's putting stock into a position that, as you have said, and I will defend, is relatively expendable. I'm not paying, especially, like, listen, if they have a quarterback that's on a rookie contract at that point, then maybe you could get away with it for a couple of years. But, and who knows what the cap hit's going to be, all of that, like, that's all projected and hypothetical at this point. I totally understand that. That number just sticks out to me too much.
Okay. So, but if that's the case, though, like let's put this scenario out then. Let's say he's not top 5. Let's say JMO, improves and gets better. You're gonna have to pay one of those two guys. One of those two are gonna have to get paid. So,
do you?
Yes.
Do you?
You don't like. I don't like this where you just believe you could throw anybody in, especially where it's not an offense and a quarterback where they necessarily elevate the quarterback or the talent around them. Like, I think Goff, as I've said repeatedly, needs the best supporting cast around him to be at his best. It's not like.
But that's assuming that they signed Jared Goff to an extension, because by the time they need to re-sign Amon-Ra, that same year is when Goff would be a free agent as well. So you may have to make the choice between Amon-Ra and Jared Goff.
I'd much rather pay Amon-Ra. I don't care. I'd much rather pay Amon-Ra. I get you.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. Those are the decisions, and that's why we have said like their window is like a 2 to 3 year window right here, because Amon-Ra comes up.
Right.
Okuda, obviously, I think he's gone anyway, like we've discussed.
Yeah.
Swift will be gone after this year. I mean, you're looking at, if you want to retool, you can't have high dollars tied up into positions that you can retool through the draft much cheaper, which is why I think drafting a quarterback this year that you think can take over for Goff is a good idea.
Yeah. But, I mean, it also comes with the price of winning as well. Like, I think, while, yes, you don't want to be tied into too many long-term deals, you're going to have to keep some guys around for 10. Like, it's just going to have to happen. Like, Penei Sewell doesn't seem like a guy you want to just let walk out the door because he's going to be expensive. No. Hutch is going to have to stay around. And I think you can make the case that Amon-Ra is too, especially for this offense.
Kirby Joseph would be up the year after that.
For safety, I believe you'll be able to make that work. Like, I don't think that's going to be crippling. Receiver is going to be definitely a taxing position.
Maybe not.
I think if you want to make sure this offense stays as explosive as possible, he's probably your most explosive offensive piece consistently when he's on the field. So I don't think you could afford to just because it's going to cost more. I don't think they have the luxury to just let him walk.
Again, I'm not arguing that they let him walk. However, I think that it's really important that they are fiscally responsible.
Sure.
If the number's 23.2, you let him walk.
I don't want to, to me, that number doesn't scare me. Again, I want this offense to stay as explosive as they can be. And you said be fiscally responsible. We've seen that be Brad Holmes' MO anyway. So that is another reason I'm not super worried about that possibility. And even if they did, I think they would still be able to make it work by letting the right players go to make sure the right players stay. So I wouldn't look at that as too much of a worry, man.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about this. Let's tell the people about our live draft show, because the draft is coming up at the end of this month. And if you are as excited as we are,
we absolutely do. Listen, you got to join us for our exclusive 2023 NFL Draft Live Show, where your favorite analysts, AJ, yours truly, and Dylan, will be breaking down each first round pick as it happens. That's right, we will all be reacting live to all the drama, surprises, and jaw-dropping moments of this coming NFL Draft.
And we want you to be a part of it. Share your thoughts, your reactions, predictions live in the comments, and we, your favorite Detroit sports hosts, will interact with you throughout the show. Don't miss a chance to engage with fellow Lions fans and myself, Eric, and Dylan, who will be live that night, and get your voice
So pick up your phone right now. Mark your calendars for the 2023 NFL Draft Live Show, April 27th. I'm going to say it again, April 27th. It's going to be hosted by Detroit Sports Nation. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you do not miss a single moment of this epic event on April 27th.
We will be there.
Yes.
And you should be there too, because it's going to be exciting. And as always, Go Lions. Okay, so we're coming down to it. We talked about Amon-Ra. Listen, he's been fantastic. I love this guy. We love his attitude. We love his character, which is plenty of reason why we believe that they would keep him around. But I think that we have to settle on the fact that the price has to be right. The cap hit is going to be the most important. And a lot of that can be fixed through what you do in the draft over the next few years, because there's going to be a lot of these young guys that are coming due to free agency within the next couple of years. I mean, they've got Hutchinson for 4 more. They've got Joseph for 3 more. They've got James Houston for 3 more. Malcolm Rodriguez for 3 more.
Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell for 2 more. Or 3 more, I'm sorry.
So,
3 more, because he can have 5 years, and he's played 2 already. They can sign that 5th-year option, which I'm sure that they would sign. Which is why this draft is so important. Because I don't think you're drafting Amon-Ra's replacement in the first round. Could potentially be drafting Goff's replacement in the first round, though. We talked about that last night on the live, so make sure you go check that out. But $23.2 million average for the top 10 receivers right now. That seems like a significant chunk of change for somebody who may not at that point even be your number 1 receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you better hope that you're seeing some good things out of J-Mo at that point then. I'm more comfortable with pushing that kind of money to him than giving Goff $50 million and just giving him a bunch of rookies and saying, hey, make them better. It's not really who he is. So it's not going to be a cheap ticket, but it might be the only choice you have if you want to keep this offense afloat.
It may be, and we will see. That's what's exciting about all this. It's all hypothetical. But at the same time, it's fun to talk about. Because we love Amon-Ra, and I want to see him in the Honolulu Blue for a long time. I just want the price to be right. That's all I'm asking for. And listen, we've said it plenty of times. I trust Brad Holmes to make sure that the price is right.
Yeah.
And I think you do too. And I think that that's going to set us up for success. Maybe not having to go through a rebuild for a long time. Just retool. Keep the spending where it needs to be in control. Keep drafting good, young, talented guys and finding gems in the later rounds, which is what Amon-Ra is. And he's earned a payday. Just got to make sure that payday's not.
We'll make sure you're at the negotiation table. Once that happens, you hit the stop button when it's
I'll pound the desk I will pound the desk like Brad Holmes.
Too much.
Especially when he signs for a very good discount because he wants to stay here in Detroit. Listen, Amon-Ra is the man. We love Amon-Ra. He has been fantastic in his first couple of years here in Detroit in 2021 and 2022. We expect big things from him in 2023 in that role that's going to evolve, that's going to hopefully push JMO into a 1A, 1B situation with him in that wide receiver core. They've got a great vet in Marvin Jones to learn from, who's wearing number 0, by the way, which is awesome. And we can't wait. We're excited. We will be live for the draft show. We'll be coming at you live as well on Monday night at 9 o'clock. Talking more Lions football. It's all Lions football until the draft, and we know exactly what this team looks like in 2023. We can't wait for it. We know you can't wait for it. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. He's Eric. I'm AJ. This has been your favorite Detroit sports show, Beyond the Box. We will see you again Monday night.